Hello, Year 5 and Year 6 students, IGCSE, English, Case Stage 2, Cambridge Checkpoint Primary English. This is our English grammar lesson, relative clauses. Let's start on. As we mentioned last videos, we said what is a relative clause. We said it's a type of subordinate clause and is usually introduced using a relative pronoun. We bought the food that we took on the picnic. Where is the relative pronoun here? Yes, brilliant, the word that. And where is the relative clause? We said this is the sentence that follow the relative pronoun. So we talk on the picnic is the relative clause, including the word that, which is the relative pronoun. The whole clause that we took on the picnic refers back to the food. We agreed before that the relative pronoun and relative clause refer back to a noun that's previously mentioned. Alright, as you see here, the main clause is we bought the food, and that we took on the picnic, this is the relative clause. There are 5 main relative pronouns: that, which, who, whom, and whose. Let's take this example. I bought a strawberry ice cream which had a chocolate flake. Where is the relative pronoun here? The word which. Exactly, that's right. And where the clause? The relative clause, which had a chocolate flake. What about the first sentence? I bought a strawberry ice cream. This is the main clause as we agreed before. Which had a chocolate flake, which is the relative pronoun, and had a chocolate flake is the relative clause. Okay, let's take some more exercises. Which of the words below are relative pronouns? Alright, here's a list. Let's decide which one is relative pronoun. Yes, exactly. Who, that, whom, which, and whose. The word he is a subject pronoun. Those is a demonstrative pronoun. Hers is a possessive pronoun. We and it are subject pronouns. So the only relative pronouns here are whose, which, whom, that, and who. Okay, sometimes we can leave out, we can delete the relative pronouns. So we delete the relative pronoun and the sentence is still meaningful. Look at this sentence. Sometimes the relative pronoun is left out of a relative clause. Look at the example below. Here is the car that I drove. We can delete that and we can say here is the car I drove. Spot the relative clause here. The cute puppy Tilly got last year is now fully grown. Where is the relative clause in the sentence here? Oh, you will ask a question that there is no relative pronoun. You are completely right. So imagine where the relative pronoun should be placed here in the sentence, because it's left out as we agreed. We deleted the relative pronoun here. The cute puppy Tilly got last year is now fully grown. Yes, exactly. Tilly got last year is the relative clause because it's implied here to say the cute puppy which Tilly got last year. So the implied which here appears before the word Tilly. So the cute puppy which Tilly got last year is now fully grown. This is the relative clause. Okay, another example. I spoke to an elderly lady whose kitten I found. Where is the relative clause here? It's pretty clear. The word whose is a relative pronoun. So I chose the sandals which fit perfectly. Where is the relative clause here? Which fit perfectly, which is a pronoun. Another example. This is the tree where we saw the pelican. Where is the relative pronoun where? And the sentence follows is a relative clause, where we saw the pelican. Number 3. Lester was thrilled with a gift that we bought for him. That is the relative pronoun, and we bought for him is the relative clause. Number 4. A tiny girl whose face I recognized smirked at me in the park. Whose face I recognized is the relative clause, and whose is the relative pronoun. Finally, someone I know taught me how to play chess. Where is the relative clause here? Think about the last sentence and you can write the answer in the comments. We already finished our lesson. Wait us until we record another video. See you next time and goodbye.